What's up, vegans and future vegans? It's Lou Miles Walker here with a movie review of Dunkirk. I want to stipulate that this is a a review of watching the movie at home. I did not go to the theater to see the movie. So, Dunkirk, just in case you don't know, is a depiction of a military operation at the end of May and beginning of June of 1940, when World War II was in full swing, and there were Allied troops, mostly British, but British and French. I think, yeah, mostly British, were trapped on a beach in France and had to be evacuated. And it was not a standard evacuation because it's a shallow port. Dunkirk is. Excuse me. So it was, it caused a lot of anxiety in Great Britain because it was basically their whole army, and people were freaking out that it was like they were losing the war if they couldn't get their army out of there to regroup. Um, they were going to basically have to surrender their entire army, or maybe their army would get slaughtered, or some of both. So the movie this is it's a realistic depiction of events from that time in that place, and there's a few plot lines that intersect. Three, I believe. There's three distinct plot lines that intersect at a certain point. This movie was released in 2017. Like I said, I watched it at home, and so I can't speak to the big screen experience. I mostly watch movies at home. I don't get out to the movies very often, though I would like to more. This movie was written, directed, and produced by Christopher Nolan, and I'll put a link to the Wikipedia page for the movie, as well as a link to the Wikipedia page for the historical event, the military operation. I like the movie. I recommend this movie. It was entertaining. I'd say it was good to very good. I wouldn't say it was excellent. I know that it could have been better in some ways. That's kind of intuitive. I don't really. I can't come up with too many concrete examples of how it could be better, but I just knew it didn't reach that pinnacle of movie making and cinematic or at home cinematic experience that I have felt watching just some of the best movies I've ever seen. But it's nonetheless a good movie, and it seems like good movies are more and more rare. Everything's just kind of going the way of just everything's over dramatized or over affected. Action movies they're not realistic. You don't see realistic action sequences as much. It's usually some combination of action and fantasy. So it was really refreshing, to see just a realistic war movie with believable plot lines. For the most part, this is where I'll get into the critique. But just to summarize, what I liked about the movie, the visual effects are really good. They're convincing. Maybe it wasn't like a massive budget like some movies, but it was enough. It seemed like they had enough resources to make convincing battle scenes. And that's not always easy, but whatever CGI was in there, it looked good enough, and they didn't try and overdo it. That's the thing. It's like it seems like CGI just kind of falls flat when it's just not used properly. And there were parts of this movie that I knew that were obviously CGI, but it still had like an authentic feel because the story was believable. So the pace was also good. It wasn't overpaced, but it moved along. but it didn't feel like it was rushed. And then the editing, blocking, editing, I felt like that was really good, which is obviously interrelated with the pacing. So and the casting and acting and the cinematography, everything was solid, no complaints, except for I feel like they, in the writing, like the way the plot lines intersected, it was believable enough. It was a bit of a stretch. I mean, I don't want to like have spoilers, but kind of there were a few plot twists where that were a little bit questionable to me, as far as like how realistic is that, but nothing. It but it was believable enough to keep me engaged, and so that's why I give it a thumbs up. I give this movie a B+, whereas the highest could be an A+. But the highest practical score you could get is an A, because you can't expect to get an A+. That's like, you need some luck to get an A+ from me. That's just, that's reserved for like just the best movies of all time. So really, B+ is pretty darn good, because there are only two, you know, grades higher than that you could get, that you really have a realistic chance of getting. So B+ is pretty good, and that's what I give it. Dunkirk, released in 2017, written, directed, and produced by Christopher Nolan, World War II movie. So, but it's also, this is genre specific. So if you can't appreciate a believable, realistic, historical movie, and there's not a ton of like drama in terms of the character development. So if you're looking for heavy drama, heavy character development, this is not your movie. But I've seen some of the other reviews where they talk about a lack of character development, and I felt like there was enough there. I mean, I felt like there was enough there that I could empathize with the characters, and even though they didn't grow in much in 2 hours, they survived, and the movie didn't need that to be entertaining. So yeah, that's what I got, and thanks for watching. This is my first movie review. Hope it isn't too bad of a movie review. I'm sorry I'm not a better editor to be, cutting to the movie and back and having all kinds of pictures and stuff. Hopefully I can learn more about editing and get some better editing software. Once again, it's Lou Miles Walker. Like and subscribe, and go vegan and stay vegan for your health, for morality, and for the environment. I'll see you later.